Lords podcast, a sweet sensory sensation here with the boys, Danny and Kang, and your guest, Kai.
This will be a great audio experience for people that put their headphones on. But people in their car now, with other people inside, got real confused.
Do you think they felt the KFC coming through on the...
Kentucky Fried Kai.
Kentucky Fried Kai. You had a whole story, and you would like your future surname to start with a C, right?
Yeah.
So that you can have the initials of, what was it again?
KFC.
KFC.
Because my current initials is KF, which flipped backwards is FK, which sounds like fuck.
Ooh, how often are people flipping your initials backwards?
Me. I don't know how.
Was that a common thing in high school? That was your nickname?
No, just at work. I
had
initial everything.
We had me in high school, we had a Vietnamese person who first name was spelled Phuc.
Oh, yep. That was their first name?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was often a surname.
I'm not sure, but that's what he was referred to by. And he pronounced it as Locke. But obviously, in English, PH makes an F sound, and then FUC sounds a lot like fuck.
The substitute teacher every time.
Yeah, which is great because, yes, the substitute teacher or anytime we had a new teacher would look at the name sheet and go,
And they would always try to pretend they could pronounce it like fuck.
Yeah, and be like, nope, try again.
When I went to Balcata, it was primarily like Middle European, so Greek, Italian, it's like up to Croatia, Serbian. There's a lot of names like that. But we also had quite a large, I guess, Western Africans. So it's like Senegalese, a lot of very deep African names. And there wasn't a lot of, none of those nationalities tend to do what the Asian immigrant does, is where they just pick white people names and go with it. A lot of them had traditional names, and all because we were Balcata, and it wasn't a very high-end public school. When we did have relief teachers, it was they would come, and there was me as my name is Daniel, and another kid called Dwayne, and then every other name was was a bit of an effort.
It was a shot in the dark.
Yeah, so
because the name would also be spelled a certain way, but could be pronounced entirely different.
Yeah, and some were just very long and arduous to get to.
I think in the same vein, I think a lot of it is also when you get people from the Dutch names, the South African names can be pronounced very, very weirdly. There's an actress whose name is Saoirse Ronan, and she's Irish, but the Saoirse is spelled like Saoirse, whatever.
Yeah, all the Irish names, like the way that you spell Siobhan and stuff like that is wild. There's completely different letters.
And without any clue, you would just shot in the dark.
But a bunch of the African boys, their names were super long, their first and last name and whatever other names they had. But it was they're always, you don't actually use those names at all. It's always an abbreviated version of whatever the sound is. Right. They're not calling each other otherwise it's multiple syllables every single time you call each other that, and no one's actually doing that. So, but the teachers, a lot of, especially when you're a super white person coming in, you're gonna well, I don't want to what do you call disrespect someone by not trying to use their name, but you also don't want to use their name and get it wrong. So it's this whole game they would play every single time.
Yeah. Everyone is mate, buddy, dude.
There was this.
It's you.
You.
There was
point finger.
There was this one teacher who used to be a maths relief teacher, and he would just come in and he's like, "Is anybody not here? Do you know if any of the people is your person you're sitting next to not here, and they should be?"
You can cover for your mate.
Yeah. He was very much on the end of his I guess relief teaching existence the last few years. He was like, whatever.
Yeah. I remember when I was
paid enough for this.
Yeah.
When I was young, when I first came to Australia, I remember the early 2000s, the middle, when you fill out forms, it would ask for your first name, middle name, and last name. But as Australia has gone more and more diverse, a lot of cultures don't have a middle name, and now it kind of just give me your given name and some sort of family name.
Yeah,
good to go.
I also think that as more as the IDs have become more serialized. So a driver's license have numbers and those things. That now they're more acceptable when you have more forms of IDs like credit cards. The middle name is not as relevant. No. Think is when you still sign for anything. Who's checking that signature against anything ever? And also every signature I've ever done is completely different from the last one. You know what I mean? So I was when was that a viable option? And was there in the 40s or the 1850s or something? Were the people really good at looking at signatures and being yeah, that's not your signature? You know what I mean?
It's really hectic, right?
Yeah.
Because we deal in trading cards where a lot of times signed trading cards are a big deal. And if the person who's signing isn't good at keeping a consistent signature, how would you ever know?
Oh, absolutely. You can see, I've seen people that have play sets of signed cards and they're different from one to the next.
And they look minor differences.
Yeah, well, I've seen wildly differences.
Wildly.
I think Rob Alexander was
He's
his
changed
loops
his signature
were
a few times.
yeah, well, like some of the loops on his like bees and stuff were like real different, like from one to the next. So,
What was it? The signing of the Declaration of Independence was a big deal, and they had a bunch of people come through and sign it, and then one person just signed his name hell big, and it's become.
is that true? I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's an on-running joke of everyone signing their names hell orderly, and one person just wrote his name really big.
Yeah,
in the Declaration of Independence.
You know when you get like a birthday card for your mate and you all sign it together because you're like you're blokes, so you've each paid $7 to I think a vodka and then you one card between 12 of you, right? And everybody signs like regular signs or like like maybe like it's like a I don't know, like you all write something on the like this like picture of them or something, and there's that one guy who just like uses up half the thing.
Yeah,
and you're like
absolutely.
you're not this much extra important, cuz you got to calm down.
Either one person writes an entire book on one page.
Do you feel like, let's say it's like an engagement party or something you've gone to? I don't know. You guys are a bit younger, so maybe you've gone to a few less of these things, but or like a wedding. Is like, do you ever, and you have to write something about the people? How much stress do you feel coming up with something to say?
One of the only weddings I've been to was like a distant family member, and it was too young for me to know anything about, and I had to write on the because we had this whole thing where it was a real elaborate wedding where they had a wall like where everyone could write notes on it and hand out prizes and such, and I was really trying to figure it out. So I remember I just drew a smiley face.
As a kid, that's
I
probably
put
the
my
best you
name
could
there.
do.
Yeah.
So
I'm a bit the same. It's like I was 9 years old. It's a wedding. It's like I don't know what that even is.
My thing's always like I'm like, I've known this guy for 17 years. We have hung out like once a week for the past like, X amount of years. I'm like, I don't know why I don't have a single anecdote about this man. You know what I mean?
That's kind of like guys. Though.
Yeah,
It's
as
like,
guys.
I could know this person for like 10, 20 plus years, and I know nothing about them, but we hang out every now and
You
then.
just hang out,
And
yeah.
that's it.
that's the male friendship, right?
That's the male.
The male friendship is we're friends, but I don't need to know too much about your life. Because
Yeah.
once you do, now we're getting too personal, and I got to deal with your shit.
Yeah, I guess it's the extension of like when you go home to your girlfriend or your parents, and they ask like how the person is, and you're like, yeah, they're fine, and like you have zero extra information other than that, right?
Yeah. He seems to be smiling.
Do you think that's a fault of guys, or it's a is it a lack of communication, or is it a positive communication of like we don't need to be each other's therapists, we can just hang out with each other? You know what I mean?
It's pros and cons of either or, right? Because I guess the downside is now we talk about how a lot of men just kind of feel like they don't have an outlet for how they can kind of express their feelings in the same way, in a safe way. And then also, like me speaking, it's like, I don't want your trauma.
Yeah.
I'm fine, bro. We could just be friends.
It's like I always want to be there for every one of my friends. Like anybody
Correct.
who needs a time, but it's the same as like as soon as someone's like, "Oh, I'm having a rough day," I'm like, "Pussy."
But like men, right? Men, regardless one way or another, men, we have innate competition with each other, and there's always going to be an innate level of with dude friendships is we have similarities of things we enjoy, and that's the only connection we need, is that both of us could like football or both of us like these video games. Done, whatever. And it's less of an emotional connection rather than a like we both have a shared interest, and that can be the surface level. That it, we're happy forever. Done. So, and that's why we run a hobby shop, right? So people can find each set
Find
interest.
those,
So,
find those interests.
but also an interest as well. I think that caught our eye recently, Kai, is that you've been quite into Lego recently.
Yeah, so actually, I've been into Lego for ages, since I was a wee lad. I would say probably a bit more, about 80% of my room is just covered in Lego.
Yeah. So outside of all the card games you enjoy, you also enjoy Lego. I think it matters for Northern boards because for several times now we've looked into trying to stock Lego.
Yeah.
on Northern boards.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
quite a complicated procedure though.
I've contacted Lego and they got back to me, but
wow.
before I can stock Lego, I have to like go. They basically said you've got to like apply like 3 or 4 times, and then I also need to
It's
run
like a renting inspection. So
it is. Yeah, it is very much like that. Yeah, like to try and get a rental. Yeah. I was completely side tangent. You see, there was one in I think it was like Claremont or something. A rental went up. 92 people rocked up for the inspection.
What a nightmare.
Yeah, what night?
Great.
If there's like more than 40 people ahead of you to go in, you don't worry about it.
I think you should go to the next place.
Yeah.
Actually, that's better because by the time you go to the next place, everyone's checking out that place.
Yeah, it's
so
true,
you're
yeah.
probably going to get the next one.
Well, but yeah, they said they contact back because I'm really keen. Like, I'd love to have some sort of Lego on board.
Yeah.
Probably nothing crazy, but like, there's that hobby. is it Osmond Hobbies and stuff like that, Osmond Park?
Right.
They obviously can get Lego, and but it is, as like the collectibles have risen, so many of the ultra collectible stuff is really hard to get. We came across it with Pokemon. I was really lucky to be able to get Pokemon at all. And then they've really restricted on how much Pokemon they send through. Like we very, very rarely actually get sent like booster boxes, which is the most wanted
That's what people
thing
want.
want the most. Yeah. I don't know if you know what jelly cats are. They're like,
It's a jelly cat.
they're like little soft toys. They're it's like the rabbit soft toy that every child has.
Labubu?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And either it's a similar. The Jellycat's a very like small baby, very cutesy kind of thing.
Right.
It's like a premium soft toy. There's a rabbit that's very consistent. There's also like the pouting turtle. I don't know if you've ever seen that one. The turtle with the sad face.
Sure.
I'd have to see a picture.
They're all very they're any parents out there will definitely know what they are, but they're like premium soft toys, very much like the Squishables, I guess, like a premium version of that. Anyways, it's like those. I applied for those accounts, and they said the same thing. It's like you've got to order basically like $10,000 worth of other junk before we'll even let you look at like the getting these specific things.
It pretty much locks it down for franchises, really.
Yeah.
For any sort of opportunity to stock these.
It's one of those things where it's like if you were in the game a while ago, they're going to continually support you because you've been supporting them for a long time. But if you want to get into it now, then you can't just come in for the hot stuff. And
there's
then
a
leave.
Partnership involved. You can't just show up and be, hey, I want to order this because I can make money out of it. No, we have partnerships. We have to establish relationships so we can send you things and make sure that you're going to pay us back in time as well.
Yeah,
it probably also helps against scalpers and things like.
More or less.
It
stops random people being, hey, I want to stock this. And for example, it kind of saves it to brick and mortar stores rather
Correct,
than individual, like especially now in the modern age where drop shipping is bigger than ever, online merch, like online sales is more than ever. People are going to try and get these opportunities. Like for example, Pokemon, the average punter, if they have a little money to invest, would love to be able to open an account and just sell Pokemon online. It is basically printing money.
Yeah. Wow.
But you have to establish a relationship with these distributors because they would rather prioritize to brick and mortar stores where they know that these games are going to be supported.
Yeah, absolutely.
For the longevity,
Absolutely.
it is better. Yeah.
On Wanneroo Road, there's actually a pharmacy there because a lot of the pharmacies in WA have these jelly cats, and there's a massive banner sign, probably like I don't know 4 or 5 meters by 3 meters high. And it just has a pharmacist holding a jelly cat saying like, we've stocked the latest jelly cats. So the pharmacy's main advertising goal is to let you know that they've got jelly cats there. That's the entire purpose of that.
I do wonder.
So what you're saying is you're jealous that the pharmacy has that and you don't.
So it's one of those ones where these premium children's toys, are they for the children or is it for the parents that want to collect?
It's got to be hard
a hard
nostalgia, like hard nostalgia. Like you've obviously, the reason we're talking about this is because you've just worked your way through the Sauron, or the
Lego Barad-dûr.
Barad-dûr, sorry. And it's like, that's definitely not for children, right? Because it's both expensive and difficult, I assume.
But so the thing with like, especially I would almost say top end, because Lego has their, I think it's called the UCS, like their Ultimate Collectors ones, which are designed for more towards adults and people who want to display these things. It's like the Millennium Falcon, the Death Star, things like this.
Like more complex kits.
More complex, really expensive. Like you're talking like $900 or something.
Because these are displays.
They're display kits.
These are, not only is it a hobby to build it, for someone it's the satisfaction of having something that they can put up and witness.
And then they can just have it in the living room. You see some people like with the Millennium Falcon put it in like their like a table, and then like that's where it's
that's
displayed.
really cool. Yeah,
and you're like, that's crazy.
Have you seen the one where the guy's done the whole hangar?
Yeah.
There's
wow.
Yeah, he's created like a glass visionary table, and it has the Millennium Falcon, but also the hangar where they landed inside the Death Star. But he has also got all these really cool like nods to other things. So there's like an Indiana Jones scene and some like different like characters from this and that, and like a Simpsons thing, and like just little things that are all like tacked in there amongst all of the very maybe true to the story Star Wars scenes happening around there as well.
I can safely say that the three of us here all grew up one way or another with Lego. Yeah. Lego was a big fundamental of my childhood. I believe it's for you guys as well. So it's no surprise that we have interest in Warhammer, right? Because building
it is like the next.
Correct.
The next
Lego
step.
was the precursor to that. For me, the childhood dream of every kid that grew up with Lego is the dream of having my own room where I have my own Lego city where everything's all laid out and dioramas and stuff. So the guy who's building a giant Star Wars hangar, that was definitely when he was young, when he was 12 years old, he had that vision in his head. And as an adult, he could manifest it.
It's like, I have money now.
But he's also mixed together like some carpentry, some metalworking, like he's put lots of lights and LED lighting and stuff in there as well as the Lego. So it's like a cool like culmination of like maybe 3 or 4 hobbies that have come together to create this.
It's a passion project for them.
So I have to ask, are you? You said you've got quite a few kids. Are you a displayer? Is your room like you go in and it's dedicated shrine of Lego?
It's at the moment definitely displayed. It is like I have a shelf on one wall that stores all my Bionicle because
classic.
That was the biggest thing in my childhood. Where currently Rivendell, that big set, is displayed, which is going to have Barad-dûr next to it, which
Very
will be
nice.
awesome. And then I have all like the Lego that I had from my childhood displayed on a separate case on a different wall.
The
So
fact
it's
that
like
you still have it is
360.
really nice.
Yeah, I'm trying to. So there's a set. So what originally got me into Lego was Lego Mars Mission, because back in the day I was really into space. That was like the first set that I could get my hands on. And nowadays I'm trying to complete like the whole set series.
Oh, the
Obviously,
collection.
The collection.
Yes.
Now
But
it's
going back,
discontinued.
it gets expensive.
It's
Discontinued
quite
kids.
expensive, yeah.
Right. Especially in good condition. Good Nick.
What kind of year was Mars Mission like vaguely?
I probably got my first set in 2008.
Okay, so it's a while ago, but
a
not
while
crazy
ago.
amount of time.
It's not like some of the original like space themes, like
The
Blacktron, I think it is.
OG Star Wars stuff is worth a lot now.
Oh, it's ridiculous, especially Star Wars. Like any of the starting like sets.
The ones when Lego started to venture out into other franchises. Because Lego, so I remember the timeline of Lego was they have always kind of existed as a so-so hobby, but they were really going through a rough patch until they picked up the Star Wars license. And that's what dug Lego out of the hole.
Well,
Really?
So it was a couple of things. So Lego Bionicle and Lego Star Wars were the two.
They were the two big ones, correct. Bionicle was
Lego
massive.
Star Wars, the problem was the licensing was very expensive at the time. And so Lego was like, we don't know how long we can do that in conjunction with everything else. And then they took a huge gamble doing Lego Bionicle. And before that, it was like Slices or something, which was like the precursor to Lego Bionicle.
Yeah, I actually do remember Slices.
And those were wacky, and I love them.
Yeah, they're the little fling arms.
Little
things,
fling
right?
arms, yeah. And they, like, parts of those made it into Bionicle.
Yeah.
Like the little Matorians, where they had the little
I
three
actually
discs.
very vaguely remember those because it was one of those things where we grew up pretty lower socioeconomic, and like we'll talk about it later. But my first venture into Lego was from like neighbors of my nan's giving us like a bulk lot because it wasn't something my parents would go and buy. But I do remember for a Christmas, my brother and I got the what were the
Slices.
Sorry, yeah. Slices. And you put them. They come in like a little plastic like tube box kind of thing, and then you would pull them out, put them together, and they had like because again at that kind of age for me, Tarzos were still vaguely in the memory. So like, which is like Pogs, right? And they would fling these little things. So then we would stack them all up with the Tarzos, and they would also fling them because the gap was
They were
roughly the
posable
same.
too, so they had the satisfaction of being an action figure, like a toy you could handle around.
And like even the little discs were like usually collectibles as
Remember
well.
the Bionicle movie? Because the Bionicles was really. Although I remember very early on, there was the big one, the first one, the Mask of
Light. Then it goes to the Web of Shadows.
that was when
I've actually never seen a Bionicle movie.
Well,
I didn't know that was
Bionicle was really picking up steam in like popular culture, and they released animated series and movies.
Really?
Lego
they
doubled
did a
down
lot.
pretty hard.
I had a book, but I didn't know there was a movie.
Oh, there
Lego
was a
doubled
lot
down
of
hard.
books
They
as well.
went full. So they went movies, video games, comics.
So
all
back
the
then,
merchandise.
Lego.com was full of games and like lore and stuff, especially like Bionicle. Even though they're like smaller things, they had like Lego City had games because that's what attracted the children because that was what was hot at the time.
Movie bits.
You can still like even on the Wayback Machine, you can still go back to them to find some of them. A lot of them don't
Tastes
work
like Flash
because
games?
rip Flash.
Yeah.
It's like Flash doesn't work. Some of them you can get emulators to still run some of them on, and they're great. They're so fun to play. Lego Mars Mission has one that I
Wait, is Flash gone?
Flash is gone.
Sorry,
Flash is
is
gone.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
So
that happened.
anything that was using Flash on the old internet doesn't work anymore. However, there's a lot of places that use conservation apps to kind of emulate Flash and keep it going. So, for example, Newgrounds, where everything in the past was made in Flash, they use a third party to emulate the Flash. There's still ways to get around it.
So was Flash actually like a company that went under?
Adobe.
Yeah.
It was Adobe.
Oh, and they just discontinued supporting it.
Well, what happened was Flash was effectively an animation, and it was basically a programming platform.
Got it.
And the language got depreciated over time.
Okay.
and they couldn't just keep updating it.
spending money on it. Yeah.
It basically just.
I guess if
became
it's
a lost
only used to
cause.
make like stick figure battles, like how much money were they making off it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The when we mentioned, you finally mentioned inheriting that miscellaneous box of Lego. For me, my first venture into Lego was receiving. We had a close family friend buy me you could buy tubs of mixed Lego bits when you're a kid.
Were they like generic, no
Branding, nothing.
Yeah.
So it was just generic bits of like 1x1 blocks and multicolored blocks, and it was in a tub, and that was such a fundamental part of my childhood creativity of assembling things and putting things together and really diving.
Were they also called like Ultra Egos or something like that on the side? You didn't notice?
Nah, they were
It was a
the good news is they were Lego.
They were Lego. Right.
Because back then there was a lot of different bootleg
No Popo
Legos.
Mega Blocks here.
Was
Mega
it Duplo?
Blocks.
No, Duplo was still
No,
Lego.
Nah,
Duplo's
Duplo's
still
Lego,
Lego,
but it's
but
the
the Mega
cute
Blocks,
baby ones.
right?
They were
And then-
designed. You know how Duplo was designed? For babies not to swallow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
too
if they
big to
could get it
swallow.
in their mouth, it couldn't all get in their mouth. So things that was vaguely like mouth shaped had to have a bend in it and shit like that.
Right. It's
like,
So it couldn't get in
Couldn't
there.
get in. Yeah.
I vaguely remember a brief competition to Lego was those magnetic kits.
Lego
Remember
actually made some.
They did?
They
Because
made
I
some
remember
magnetic kits.
there were these magnetic kits where we would get ball bearings and then magnetic rods and use those to make all sorts of contraptions.
It sounds violent.
Remember that one?
Oh, you like actually, forgot, but now I do know what you're talking about. Yeah, they were really popular, like in the 60s and 70s. Like that's like
They're also popular at schools or like kindergartens, I find.
yeah, like I remember my granddad talking about it. It was like Mag Tracks or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, and I do remember having a conversation with my granddad when I was a child about how that was something that he had survived through the war or something. I don't know. Literally we're talking about like World War II or something. You know?
Something to pass
Do you
the time.
vaguely remember your first licensed or like Lego themed set?
But
What was really big for your time?
the first set that my parents brought me, because it was before the licensing stuff started to come through, there was the classic pirate ship with the shark and the sails on it, the black and white sails. I think it was.
And there was a cloth sail.
Yes, correct. It was cloth sails. And they at that same Christmas, my mum and auntie and my grandparents pulled together. They bought the ship and also a cowboy one. And the cowboy one had like a little town with a bank, and you would click something on the bank, and the bank would pop out. You'd slot like a little like flat piece of like slip on it, which had a dynamite image on it, and you would slip that in, and that would pop the bank open as if the bad guys
They exploded.
They blew up the vault.
a dim.
Would you believe it? That mechanic, like that game, play feature, still survives today. It still
really?
exists. It is still one of the most common ones.
What I remember the most is my auntie and my mum sat down and they spent hours building the Lego while I watched Star Wars on VCR.
So you
But
didn't even
next to them.
build
But it was like
It
there
was
was
just a little bit too complicated.
it was actually a really fond memory of like one of the my granddad built this quite large house all by himself, and when he passed away, my dad had to sell it. But it's one of the last memories I have that's very core of being in that house together, and like all the family was there, and while my mum and my auntie like built Lego, and the rest of us just kind of watched Star Wars and ate food. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was
That's living the dream.
Yeah,
right
it
there.
was, yeah,
It's like Star
absolutely.
Wars, Lego, food.
Yeah, it was
in
very
a nice house.
very very cool, and like that Lego is still kicking around today. I gave it to Lucas, and the intention is now my sister's had a baby. Is like eventually she'll feed into that, and like that Lego we passed.
Like a
together.
family heirloom.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
yeah.
Lego.
But it is funny. Like I remember some of that Lego. Not so much the bricks themselves, but definitely the flat plates that things go on.
Yeah.
It's
The
been
grey flat plates.
Yeah, it's been so long that it's trying to turn back into dinosaurs. Like it's like
the plastic is dissolving.
yeah, it's slowly disappearing into the ether.
Over the time,
Especially
Lego
'cause
has
a lot
used
of the-
different materials as well. For
Especially because the Lego usually isn't stored very well. Like all my old Lego is probably stored away in the shed
in
somewhere.
the garage. Yeah, affected by the heat, I guess, changing heat
Correct.
temperature.
One of the big ones is the UV. A lot of older Lego suffered from UV bleaching, and there's like some ways
I
to restore
remember
them,
I
but-
used to have a tub left out where the morning sun could hit it, and some of the parts would go pale over time.
Yeah.
That was a big one.
Depending on the LED, the halogen lights. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
halogen lights also caused the exact same bleaching the sun did.
Yeah.
So I only know this because you guys who do the framing for the pictures. When you pay for the framing, you can pay for UV protective glass. And I said to him, I was like, oh, like this stuff's not going to be anywhere near the sun, and it's like completely enclosed room, no windows. And he says like it's not about that; it's the halogen lights will slowly bleach the color out of them over time. So the same is to be the same thing with the plastic there. It's like. I guess also like I remember talking about this. I'm like, do I have to worry about being fucking bleached by the halogen lights we're in all the time? Like
the amount you're exposed to.
Yeah, the amount of time I spend at Woolworths. Like, am I should
The playing Lego as well as a kid, I'm sure we all relate with. Like, you get your Lego kits coming together to do all sorts of battles, especially with those early Lego kits where you have castles with knights. And I remember they would fire cannonballs or arrows and such.
Yeah,
and that was very much a go to battle, very like you would assemble entire imaginary battle scenes, and which obviously translates to Warhammer as an adult.
Yeah,
oh, 100%.
Do you have a favorite Lego kit of yours?
Yes.
And do you have a Lego kit that's your grail? Like your grail, like you, if you could one day, you would love to own this.
Yes. So,
because I'm sure you know more about the history of whatever's come out.
I mean, all the stuff these days, like there's so many like new pieces and things that you can do such cool stuff with. But for me, like it takes it back to like my first sets. There were, every Lego set had like the cheap side, like the sort of bigger sets, like the like mission bases and things.
The Star Wars Death Star, I remember, was one of them. Where there was the cheap Star Wars Death Star, and then there was the full hog Star Wars Death Star, which only like the rich boys could get.
Yeah,
it's like if you had the cheap one and then your friend had the expensive one, you never let anybody know you have the cheap one.
I think there was definitely one in Australia, or at least Perth, where they weren't in Perth, and you had to get it in from somewhere else. Like they weren't stocked here, you know what I mean? Or at least not in the Toys R Us's that I was going to.
No, probably not. That'd be hard to stock.
Yeah.
For me, so Lego Mars Mission, they had a thing called the Eagle Command Base. And basically, so backstory, humans, Mars, crystals, energy, aliens, eat crystals. Humans steal crystals, war. So basically, in this like base, there's like a pump. This is like one of the first instances you can like have this pump, and it would like slide around, and you could activate different sections of it. So one of them was a turret. And you just slam it, and like in the pictures, it shows you like absolutely.
What's crazy? I just googled this.
Yep.
And I distinctly remember this as a child as well. This Mars Mission set
that
with
is
the
my most
orange
favorite.
and the very alien tubing and such.
It was such. I have that set as well. I can name.
Show us the first one. It kind of looked like a Hot Wheels track from before.
Kind of, and it came with like these very specialized pieces, right?
Yeah.
And it has a long ass axle bit, which I've never been able to replace. I've lost it, and it's like the one part of that set that I don't have anymore. It's very upsetting to me, but it is so. fun.
Have you ever tried to eBay it? Like,
at some point, I will.
I would love to go back
because
because there's probably all my memory of Lego was between the time of 2006 to 2000.
That's the nostalgia days.
You know what I mean? Like, there's probably only like a 5-year span where I have memory of Lego.
Yeah.
For me, there was the Lego Dino Attack.
Oh my gosh, yes.
That's also a classic set.
That was so good.
Now, there was also before Ninjago was a thing, Lego did another ninja-themed Lego set, which I cannot remember. It was like Asian themed with mechs.
Oh,
do you know what I'm talking about?
Exoforce.
Exoforce. That was also another one that was...
Exoforce. So contender for my top, like, the biggest things that I ever wanted.
Oh my God, yeah. I just Googled this one. I remember these ones distinctly.
Exoforce had a ginormous mech.
I had that one.
oh, that's cool.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
actually really cool.
I had the
kind of looks like a jackal
yellow
or something.
one.
It does.
What was it?
This was Lego's attempt at capturing that anime market, huh?
And the minifigures for the human side, because like they tried to capture that show Danny the hair.
Yeah.
They tried to capture that anime style, and
Yeah.
it did not translate to Lego.
It looks very much like a video game kind of character, like the
Very
8-bit
much
video
so.
game character.
And this had a little TV series.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was fine.
Lego tried a lot. They even did
they
video
really
games.
branched
Did you ever
out, yeah.
try any of the Lego video games?
I tried the Bionicle one, and excluding like Lego Star Wars and Lego, like those like quite popular ones. So the Bionicle one was it was fine for the time.
Yeah.
And they like tried to do more, and then they didn't quite get made. There's a bunch that I want to try again.
There was at our school. In one of the demountables, there was a Windows 95 computer that we could each have 15 minutes on if you were good, right? And on that game, on one of them, I think there was a Sims Zoo thing you could play, but one of the things you could play was it was a demo for Lego chess. And
Oh yeah.
and the Lego, I think with the demo, it only had the cowboys and Indians, but if you had the full set, there was like a bunch of other like themes. But all the it was all animated, and now that I look back on it, it's very much animated in the same way that you know when you go bowling and you get a strike, and there's the strike,
It's the
the
goofiest
strike animations.
animations.
Yeah, but all the cowboys and Indians. So like if you if a castle had a knight, the castle was like a certain type of like Indian or cowboy and would go over and like lasso the other one or something. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it was I wasn't that well behaved as a young child, so I didn't get as many goes as some of the other kids, but incredibly fond memories of Lego chess going on.
Yeah, I remember they did RTS games as well. There was
Lego Mars Mission had one.
Yeah, there was a whole bunch of RTS games, which so I remember. I don't know if it's nostalgia, but from what I've heard from accounts as well, those Lego games were received quite well.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm surprised there hasn't been more attempts at Lego video games.
No, there's heaps every day.
Yeah?
There's so many.
It's a cavalcade. It's like at some point there's more
I
publishing
guess
of
I've
Lego.
tuned out.
Yeah.
Skylanders came out, and then Lego. So Skylanders came out, Disney Infinity came out, and then Lego was like, okay, now we got to do that.
Yeah.
And that was also quite popular for a long time.
Yeah, Lucas was that right age where we played a couple of the Marvel Lego games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they were perfectly fine. If you
Oh, I completely forgot they did Lego Star Wars, Lego Lord of the Rings, all that.
Lego
Yes,
Indiana Jones.
They did a ton of video games. You're right.
There was
Whoa.
so
Yeah.
many.
And
Even
they were
for the
great. They turned out to be
DS.
great games.
I actually think it's like numbers wise, they're one of the biggest publisher video games because there's so many.
They just pumped a bunch of them out.
Yeah.
Like if
Especially
there's
Lego Star Wars. As a kid, you're like, wait, they did 1 to 6. They did all the episodes.
Do you remember Lego had a online role-playing game that they had to take down? They had to take down because people kept drawing penises.
Oh, so it's Roblox right now, is it?
Yeah.
Well, do you guys know about
was
the
so
controversy in Roblox right now?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
Well, a lot of states in America are starting to put pressure on Roblox because of just the problem with pedophiles.
Yeah. There's it.
Because it's primarily a children's game, so you're going to get people who are preying on the fact that it's majority a children's game, and the publishers for Roblox aren't doing enough to curb that.
Yeah. No, and they actually one of the biggest ones is a content creator who would go on and make accounts and try and catch predators on there and have them reported. The Roblox as the company or whoever the company is sent him a cease and desist because he's potentially inflaming
Well, they banned him for vigilantism.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like it's inflamed, but it's not okay. He literally caught 12 predators over the course of like 7
If it's
months.
easy for him to do.
So do you know who Goobu2 is? Yeah, he's an Instagram guy that I follow, and he's like a gym guy, and he like Joey Swole or something, and he basically calls out people editing their photos and like tries to catch preds. Right. Does it fairly regularly. He's actually a lawyer, so it's like he comes in it with the background knowledge of like when people are like, I'm going to sue you, he just basically sends them like actual lawyers forms, and most people are like, oh shit, I'm out. But he got in conjunction with this guy, the one who got the cease and desist. So he made an account, and it was like 13 minutes into it, he was being propositioned by like an adult in a chat forum.
That's a problem.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it's like
Quick.
The curious brain of me is, I really want to see if it really is this bad. Should I just go into Roblox and
try it out
and just make an account and say that I'm like 9 years old? And I'm just like, what happens?
I like the meme of like, because it's becoming so much into the zeitgeist now, there's so many people getting on board to see how bad it is. It's like you're pretending to be a 9-year-old.
Now all the pedophiles are like, am I talking to an adult?
Well, that's the problem with a lot of these things.
It's two regular adults talking to each other trying to pretend to be 9-year-olds.
It's like,
For me, growing up, there was RuneScape. It was a big deal on RuneScape because obviously, as a video game, that was free. A lot of children were playing it. So I remember distinctly as a child, I had an adult talk to me when I was playing RuneScape, and I realized as an adult now that it was that guy really shouldn't be talking to children. It doesn't work anymore because the only people playing RuneScape now are all 30 years old.
Yeah,
so
it's all those kids but grown up.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a lot harder to try to find the.
You guys are attached like a tad younger than me, right? So
yeah,
do you?
Kai by a bigger margin.
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, how old are you, Kai?
So I am at the moment 24.
Oh, okay. So you're a baby.
A little bit.
I was when Hannah said she was 22 tonight. I was like, that's crazy.
Did you not see me in the corner like
she's so intelligent?
Anyone over a decade younger, by comparison, is a baby.
Yeah, it's a baby. And so, do you remember ever being in a situation online where you're like, now you're an adult, you look back and you're like, what the fuck?
100%. I was pretty well sheltered by my parents, and they were like, you are not going on online things and you're not going to do these things. But as a kid, you find ways around all of
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then,
The fact that I didn't get kidnapped as a child was really a testament to a different era. So
yeah, true.
Like the internet evolution for me, it wasn't around enough for when I was a child. So when I'm a child, there's more likely to be coerced into something. It's still Windows 95. There's no real internet. I'm playing floppy disk games, like fucking Doom on 19 different floppy disks. There was no chance of that. It was by the time I'm 15, 16, where the internet is something that we can now have dial up in our house, and I'm playing World of Warcraft. I'm past that. If someone's trying to like online diddle me, I'm like, fuck off, mate. What are you doing? What are we doing?
You have that point in your brain where you're like, I can kind of realize.
Yeah, it's a lot of effort to go on an event to then try and get some kid to talk to you. You know what I mean? It's too much, right? But it's now. Then when Lucas came around and he's playing games online, like said, what was the Minecraft on his iPad or something? I didn't even think about other adults trying to groom children on there. To me, it wasn't something that I'd ever
the
dealt
good news
with.
about Minecraft is you can kind of only really play Minecraft with your friends.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's not like very much an MMO.
Yeah. It wasn't that. It might have actually been Roblox or what's the one where you're on a spaceship and you're pretending not to get. You're trying to get caught.
Among Us.
Yeah, Among Us, like that.
That's one of the many ones.
There's quite often I'd walk over to him on the couch and I'd hear other adults' voices coming out of out of the iPad. And I'm like,
who are these people?
What the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? And it was very weird for me as someone who has grown with the evolution of the internet into the people's houses, because now I feel like the internet's in a plateau now, right, where it's like it's done most of the things it's currently trying to achieve.
The growth period is over, and now the internet's settling into its angsty teenage weird phase of everything kind of is whack. Everything sucks.
It's one of those things like as a young child, there was no internet. Well, there was, but it's like not and that any child is using, right? Especially in Australia, where we're decades behind everywhere else. So it's like there was no internet. And then it was like only the school and libraries had internet. And then it's like then rich people had internet. And then you got dial up, and it was like you couldn't do your phone. Like my basic would never work because my mum was always on the fucking phone anyway. She was one of those people who'll be like on her phone while doing her chores to talking to her mum or something. So that you have to wait for her to be off the internet. And then by the time the internet became good, I was probably really in my 19, 20. So I completely missed
you
all
were
of that.
capable of making your own decisions at that point.
In school, iPhones didn't exist. There was no online. It was like everybody. I remember on my flip phone. I don't know if you probably definitely.
I had a flip phone.
I don't know if you had this guy, but there was a button on every flip phone, like a Motorola phone, where it was a globe because it was for the internet, and you were like. Precisely told by your parents, do not fucking touch the button because it was like, it was on channel 7 and be like, child racks up $35,000 worth of charges, contact connecting to the internet, and you were like, why did they put this button on here? That's like a landmark.
But like back then as well, like a lot of the time, all your calls would like cost money.
Just
to, like,
money,
call
yeah.
people.
Text messages were like
I didn't realize
85
that.
cents a fucking text message.
For me, when I worked at a telco, I like it never occurred to me that was a thing.
Yeah.
Because these days it's like you're on a plan, or you buy a card
It's
that already has
It's a lot better
the
now.
data.
Nowadays,
so much
it's
better.
a lot better.
But you could also like use that, and then later you'd have to pay for it. Like you owe them money all of a sudden. Whereas these days you have to pay for it first.
I remember when we would all have to figure out how we're going to plan out the prepaid plans. Like your parents would give you like, you have $30 in your plan for the rest of the month. Good luck.
You actually are lost, or you need to contact your mum and you're out of credit. You're like, fuck.
What do I do?
I was very lucky that my parents really insisted on me getting a job as early as I possibly could. And for the first thing I did, and I've never ever gone back, I have an unlimited plan, never ever considered anything else. In the early days, it was pretty expensive, especially as the dawn of that thing coming about. But it was like one of those things, it's like, well, now I don't have to, it was more about relieving the stress. It's kind of like when you have a car that works, or like you've been hanging off paying a bill or doing a study for a test, and then you do it, and now it's the relief of like, okay, I don't have to worry about that anymore. That was very much me. It was like I was constantly in fear of my phone costing me too much money, so I removed the fear from my whole existence. So
The anxiety's just gone.
yeah, it's exactly that. And it's like I think a lot of it's too philosophical about it, but like we allow too many things in our lives to encroach in and then be a thing that we have to think about constantly. Like for most people, it's money, right? You think about how you're going to pay your bills and rent and all those kind of things. But it's like, people say like money doesn't buy happiness, but if it buys that I never have to worry about how much I'm going to spend on food or rent, that's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty happy.
The sequel to talking about racking up phone bills, the sequel to that was the microtransactions, children getting away with spending too much money in a video game by accident.
I know we have a shared story that you could probably talk about.
Right. Well, I have a friend growing up where his little brother was playing too much Clash of Clans, and then and they're very much the classic. The parents who are a bit clueless to all how these video games work would just have their credit card information stored in their iCloud or whatever it is,
or it was like a joint account.
Yeah, exactly.
You buy a song or something.
Exactly, and the parent doesn't really care. They're buying songs or they're paying for Netflix and such, and then that boy, he racked up thousands and thousands of dollars of Clash of Clan just debt.
Yeah. It's like money that's not.
And it's the classic story of during that transitional period when parents aren't really sure what's going on, these things just happen.
Yeah. And does that affect that guy's credit rating for the rest of his life?
Yep. 100%.
It was such a big deal that the little brother actually ran away from home and hid in the neighbor's home for a couple of days just to let the dad cool down.
Kang knows the older brother and I know the dad, just completely separate of each other. Yeah, just a pure coincidence. And I never knew that story until Kang told me. And I was like, I could just think of that dad, like of the dads I'd want to piss off, like not this guy.
No, definitely not. That was a proper strict family, but also it was a family of 5 children. So as a parent, you just couldn't really monitor all 5 kids.
Yeah. It is. It's also that in the early app days, it was a real wild west. It's like iPhones and stuff, and iPads got apps. There wasn't as many checks and balances of how you would spend money. It was a lot easier just to click a button and it would just happen. So it was like. Now it's like, do you want to spend this? Do you authorize this? Does it check your There's
a lot more safeguards.
Yeah, it checks your Face ID every time you do a transaction, all that kind of stuff before it allows that, because I'm sure they were having that problem all of the time.
Of course.
And it's funny, like you talk about Clash of Clans. I had an iPhone. I had a job very young, so when the iPhone, I think it's probably in Australia, it's probably the 3rd or 4th generation really when it came out here. I bought one and I put Clash of Clans on it, and I remember because I was, working at Woolworths or maybe towards the bank at this point, and I'm like, I'm playing Clash of Clans and I would spend $23 on it, and then I'd be like, that's a mistake. Like,
what did I do this for?
I don't have money go? If I have $115 for the entire week, spending potentially a third on a fifth of that my entire money on Clash of Clans was a fucking mistake.
Clash of Clans was the ultimate. I wake up in the morning, sit down on the toilet, take a poop, and pull out Clash of Clans and see what's going on.
That's why you would hear the stories of the guy who the top player who would have a tablet in his shower, a tablet in his living room, and they had to implement if you're on it for too long, it'll kick you out for an hour, so you took a break because people were having problems with that, trying to compete.
That's like the old Korean
the esports scene.
Yeah, all the internet cafes where the guys would die in their chairs and no one would notice.
God, what a nightmare.
You know what I mean? They're just sitting there the whole time. Yeah. There's a really
here's the thing, right? We run here a hobby space for Warhammer players and card game players, and a lot of these people might not have the greatest hygiene, but at least there is kind of a physical deadline for them to go home and stop being here.
Yeah, usually the store closing.
I can't even imagine the what it's like running an internet cafe where you are just accepting the fact that you are allowing these people who are really social outcasts and already have the worst physical grooming possible. Right, you have to have some pretty good aircon.
It's also that they're open 24 hours a day. Do you think if we were open 24 hours a day as a game,
I think I would have lost my mind within a month.
Do you think we'd find more corpses?
Yes, statistically, yeah.
I think it would also kill my sense of smell. Smelling so much BO might completely kill my sense of ability to smell or taste.
Nah, if this was
have to worry about it.
If this was a 24-hour venture, it'd have to be run more like an airport, where you think about the infrastructure is designed with airflow in mind.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's just,
there's a passport scanner for you to get in. Sorry, we have too many people.
Your
seat's been double.
You know how you talked about in Clash of Clans, they would force people an hour break. I would just force people out of their chairs and into a shower. It'd be like, your time is up. You got to go shower.
I like the idea of the South Park meme where he yells for his mum to bring the poop tray.
Oh, yeah.
It's like that, but it's like the shower thing, and you bring over I imagine like you know when you're a restaurant and those little drones that have all the drinks, then they bring the drinks over to you, like a slightly like a bigger tubular version of that, and it rolls over to you, and then a shower like rolls around you, and a shower curtain drops down, and it just instant showers you there.
Like 4 showers.
Yeah, it showers you there, and then it like blow dries you down, and then it rolls away.
It just blasts you with Lynx Africa.
That just reminds me of
That's
the
very
Monsters
funny.
Inc. That Monsters Inc. thing where like they get like the tin
Oh,
over that
very-
song and they're just like, vaporize.
Perfect example of what I'm going to say. Yeah,
just
absolutely.
that.
Going back to real quick Lego.
Yes. Where this all
Because
started.
we got into BO now all of a sudden. What?
Everything
So
is-
Lego sets. Do you have a favorite Lego set of yours?
Lego Mars Mission Eagle Command Base.
Gotcha. And then that was also the same thing as your Grail. That would be your Grail set.
So my grail would be, I don't know why I like Lego Mars Mission that much. It's just nostalgia at this point. But on the alien side, they have the alien mothership because that would like split into all these different ships.
Yeah.
And it's like, what kid doesn't want the
Yeah,
alien ship
that
splits
does
into
sound
more
very
ships?
cool. Yeah.
My
so fun.
my Lego like Grail was as a kid. Remember the Star Wars X-wing? Mm-hmm. There was I think it was an earlier kit. It was a Star Wars X-wing. It was a big kit, and it would have the wings would open up like a little. Open up, and all these elaborate pieces like it would drop bombs and such. I had a close friend of mine growing up whose parents could afford that, and as a kid, I always envied. And I kind of wanted that. So that would be a nice finally getting there and having the satisfaction of building that kit. Doable as an adult, just never got around to it.
Yeah.
Do you have a similar kit, Danny?
I think for me, there was one again. It was a Christmas or two later. My parents and my auntie again, they got together, and she brought it back from England actually, because my auntie worked and lived in England. She came back for this Christmas, and my parents sent her money to buy. It was like a castle, and I think it was a dark castle, so you could get like a good side and a bad side.
I think I know that one.
And it was they had very grey and black blocks, and it was on like a mountaintop, and it came with a dragon, and it was an incredibly cool kit. Over the years, the same thing happened. The mountain base became very brittle, and just because it's been moved from house to house to house, and all this different stuff, like all those parts aren't together. I would love to have that back together and with me as much of as a memory of like the same thing, like my sitting there with my parents and sitting down kind of doing it together and like having such nostalgia. But I actually mentioned to Kang today when I talked about what I wanted to talk about for the topic today. I used to do on the Windows 95 at school. Where there was Age of Empires, like the first Age of Empires, the cornflakes version of Empires, right? And because we didn't get a lot of time to play it, I would go home with a friend of mine called James, and we would play Age of Empires, but with our Legos. So he would bring his Legos and I'd bring mine, and we'd build like granaries and have guys with like, we'd pretend, the priests were like, and like all that kind of stuff.
You have to make the sound effect.
Yeah,
the imagination filled in the blanks.
Yeah. And we'd create like little towns and cities, and like this time, like, because in Age of Empires, you're always going over and taking your opponent's stuff with like the priests could like convert buildings and shit. So it's like you'd convert their stuff to your stuff. It was like a very, very fun memories I had with this thing with friends and family. I'd love to have that kit back together. I looked once and I found one on a European, because like Denmark and other nationalities have their own versions of eBay.
Yeah.
Found one on eBay, like it was like Poland eBay or something. It was like $1,000 at the time. It was like now as a 33-year-old adult and think about what we spend on Magic cards, it's not as outlandish. But when I was in my mid-20s and I was still having
it was $1,000 for a memory.
Yeah, it was $1,000 was a lot more money at that time of income. You know what I mean? So,
Correct.
Your stance on money was like, that's too much.
It's funny we talk about, like, when we talk about money, it's like $1,000. I was a guy that I talk about like business stuff with. He was like, 10 years ago it was like the X amount of thousands of dollars, and it's like, so it's not that big a deal. I was like, yeah, but you forget that like between here and 10 years ago, the inflation is so wildly different. Like it's like I know it only cost 10 grand then, but 10 grand then was even 10 years ago was crazy more money than it is right now. Yeah. It's like at 5-6% inflation every single year. You as adults, we all have the same thing as like the nostalgia for when we were playing these things as kids. the nostalgia for prices for things 5-10 years ago, even 15 years ago, is like,
Yeah, $30 Lego kit back then got you a lot.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
these things.
But you also remember, like, if those prices were here today, they would not be a business.
Yeah.
Like, that would not work out.
Absolutely, the margins would have to be significantly higher. But yeah, it's like when we talk about, like, you know, this Lego kit was only $1,000. It's like it was a lot of money then, but like now that thing is, like I said, like $1,000 for the minimum to even get to like one of those starships or something. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's like you could buy that or big Death Star.
Speaking about the inflation, our good friend Johnny Coins, who deals in currency and such, he showed off that you can get a graded, slabbed, the Zimbabwe $100 trillion note. The biggest denomination note ever printed was the $100 trillion note, and it's so absurd. And the funniest part about that is because the inflation was so bad, the collective value now of the $100 trillion note is worth more than the currency was ever worth. Because on eBay, those $100 trillion notes go for about $200 to $300 each.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
The collective
That's
value of it is worth more than...
Did it look like? Is it like American paper money or?
It's paper money, and it's just absurd because it just...
There's so many numbers
on the
on there.
thing in the front, it says $100 trillion. That's so much dollars, man.
I want to know
get so
what I
rich.
could get with 100 trillion Zimbabwe.
I will buy the planet. I will buy the planet's debt.
What I wonder, do you know in Zimbabwe what currency they use? Did they
Not anymore. So what happened was the inflation got so bad they just abolished their own currency.
their currency went bankrupt itself.
But also,
So they use South African money now?
I'm not sure on the specifics, but I know because the inflation got so bad at one point, they just stopped using paper money anymore, and they all started switching to digital currency.
Oh, really?
It got so bad, and now Zimbabwe doesn't use their own currency. I don't believe
They just went to
anymore.
bartering. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
like
Our goat is worth
I need
basics.
petrol.
Yeah.
I
How many
I need
hundred
cheese.
trillions? How many $100 trillion notes is your steak worth?
Their entire country just turned into Catan.
The Lego kits is one of those things where nowadays like we have a lot of nostalgia for the old Lego kits, but truthfully, nowadays Lego kits are so great. That you have different Lego kits for all different franchises and hobbies you enjoy, and they're making super elaborate things. I've always been fond of the ones where they're designing it to represent something real and physical, whether it's an architectural building of some wonder.
Oh, yeah, they have the
all those
Architect
new
series.
kits are very
Yeah,
cool.
or some engineering wonder where it's like, this is a hell cool car you can build, or this is the Statue of Liberty. I always found those to be very engaging builds because the satisfaction of when you finally afterwards, you do have a piece of art. Like you've own created your little piece of art that you can place somewhere in your own home. So
Yeah, and then also like in some places, like you can go to France and they would sell a Lego kit of Le Louvre at Le Louvre. Like it's a very
very awesome.
nice memory, and it's in Lego. It's quite pretty.
Did you see the marketing they did for the F1?
Oh yes, they did all the F1 drivers.
Yeah,
in their cars.
they made lifelike. They did replica Lego kits for all the F1s, but to market it, they made life size 1-to-1
scale.
Lego versions of every one of the Ferraris that could drive around the
they could functionally move.
Yeah.
So
So I think they did a lap, or at least like a lap past the stands as the advertising, with the drivers sitting in each one of their replica versions of the car, and it's so crazy because it's exactly like pretty much exactly the same size, but obviously the dimensions are just a tiny bit off because they're made out of bricks instead of curved line, like smooth surfaces. But it's like they were sitting in them. And then later on, they're sitting in the actual car. You know what I mean? It's just the same, but one's made out of bricks.
From afar, you can't tell the difference.
In the same vein of the children that wanted to go to Disneyland, Legoland was a big deal as a kid because you'd go pick up Legos and you'll see advertisements for Legoland, and it really did seem like the childhood imagination of fantasy, where massive dioramas and figurines and statue built by expert level Lego builders.
Oh, yeah. And you see it in like the instruction books at the very back.
Absolutely.
Like, every now and then they'd have like win a trip to Legoland. Cut this paper, like back when you had like the cut the paper out. Send it.
A little bit back, we
K-Zone
had
magazine.
I believe it's the first Lego store, the official Lego store, opened up in Karrinyup here in Perth.
Yeah.
And it was a big deal for a lot of people. I think that really is the first Lego store we have in Perth.
Yes.
Yeah. Every now and again, I'll walk past Karrinyup and I'll look inside and be like, oh, look, it's a Lego store. And I don't venture through the boundaries of walking in.
Oh, you've never been in there?
No, I've been in there, but I've never gone in by myself to be
Just a casual scene.
look
because
what's
it's
there.
me hanging around a bunch of children as a full-grown adult.
You would be surprised how many adults are just in there more often than not when I've been there.
Yeah.
which it's been a good couple of times, it's more adults than children.
And there are so many cool
Adults
things.
have money, so it's
That's the thing.
True.
Adult me wants to go buy the Lego Batman cave.
yeah.
Did you see the Batman one? That's like a suitcase.
What?
Like a briefcase, and then it opens up into the Batcave, and it has the Batmobile. in
Really
it.
cool.
Oh, that is
That's
really cool.
really cool.
Pretty fun.
Yeah.
I was like, that King would like that.
Because before the Perth one opened up, it was like it was one of those things where it was like, it was a lot. We're very far behind on a lot of stuff in Perth, so it was the Melbourne thing where you'd go to Melbourne for Krispy Kremes and DFO and Legoland. Like it was part of that.
And now that they all arrived in Perth, the novelty's gone, and you realize the DFO is nothing crazy.
Yeah.
The Krispy Kremes are fine.
Lego's still good, but
Yeah.
it's not like a whole.
It's also one of those things is like maybe it was better when it was a dream that you'd go to rather than a thing you could just wander down to the shop for, I guess. So
Sure.
like, is it like, because like, especially now the internet exists, I think things being like,
Instant.
yeah, like it's like you could always, now you can just get anything online. So maybe if the place was more of a mecca that you could go to and not just in every place, It's the same thing as like with restaurants. Like you can drive 15 meters and there's a Hungry Jack's, McDonald's, KFC, and then you drive another 15 meters, 15 minutes, sorry, and there's another Hungry Jack's, KFC, McDonald's. Like it's like everything, and then you go like when we go to Poland. Like I've gone the entire distance of the entire thing of the world, and you walk down the street, and there's KFC, McDonald's, Hungry Jack's, and you're like, what the fuck? It's like it's everything. We've just copy pasted everything across the entire globe. It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
So we've got you on, Kai, partially to talk about Lego, and as an honored guest, you can talk about your interests too. But in relevance to Northern Boards, me and you, we've been playing a lot of Riftbound recently.
Yes, a lot.
Yeah, the funny story was we kind of just impulsively figured out that, hey, Tabletop Simulator has Riftbound. Riftbound's a card game coming out. We like card games. Do you want to give it a go, Kai?
play it. Yeah.
And we downloaded it, gave it a go. Kind of scrambled to figure out the rules, I'll be honest.
The rules were a little bit.
The initial manual was not great. We're talking about the website had just popped up, and there was maybe 3 articles on the entire website, and barely any spoilers. And we were really stumbling through trying to figure out how to play Riftbound.
It just had the
But
trial
even in
days.
that bare bones form, hey, something sparked me. This game has potential. It's just enough familiar, which I like, but enough of the next level of depth to kind of still try out new things. And now at Northern Boards, we get closer and closer to Riftbound, which is still 2 months away from release.
Yeah, it's October
We're
or
starting
something.
to. There's a lot of steam picking up now. There's some proper steam coming out. So, how do you feel about Riftbound currently?
So for me, as somebody who's played a good decent amount of card games, I love it. I played. I mean, the theme of it is League of Legends. For anybody who doesn't know, and I played a little bit, so I have some understanding of like some characters and like what their deal is. Which, in my opinion, it seems like it translates to the cards, and then the actual gameplay of it is enticing to me. It feels like it draws from a lot of different mechanics of different games, where it has like its like the system for its mana base, if you want to call it that.
Of course.
Like how you play the cards.
Yeah.
It's like it draws little bits from Magic. It feels like it draws little bits from like
One Piece.
Yeah.
Were you a big League of
all these
Legends
different
fan beforehand?
I had played some, and then I kind of swapped between like Dota and the League, and then kind of just.
But it's not
stopped playing
the imperative to play the game for you wasn't a background in it.
No,
League of
it's
Legends.
like it's League. I have to go play it.
Yeah,
It's like
Yeah.
here's
I
a
do-
new card game.
I do
let's give it a
describe
try.
for people that play Magic: The Gathering. I do pitch Riftbound as it plays very similar to Magic, but you don't have to worry about land screw.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
you always
no
have
risk of whether you're going to draw a land or not, which does alleviate a lot of the randomness.
Yeah,
in-
so many
inherent in
so
card
many games have benefited from coming both after Magic the Gathering and Hearthstone, where it's like 2 very alternate ways of how your mana base is used, and they can find a middle ground in between those 2 environments. And like Magic is never like it's part of its core is the land.
It can never get rid of its land system.
Yeah.
It is fundamentally in its design.
Yeah, but it is fundamentally the worst part
It's a
of the
flawed
game.
It is
system.
flawed,
No matter
yes.
what, it's flawed.
Yeah, and it's like I love Magic for the land and everything about it, but as a someone who enjoys the hobby and maybe one of my favorite hobbies of everything I do have to retroactively accept that the land is something that keeps a lot of players away from the game.
which is like it. at the end of the day, it's like some people are not going to like that.
Yeah.
Because one of the stereotypical arguments against Magic by other card game players is that Magic is a very low skill game because you just got land screwed, you lose the game.
Yeah.
It happens.
I mean, with the lands being like you need to draw them, the amount of RNG with that is a lot more detrimental to your playing.
But I always argue
if you
that
get it wrong, it's a lot. It goes a lot worse.
But I always argue
worse.
playing around whether you draw a land or not draw a land is part of the skill
Yes, correct.
involved.
Yeah, 100%.
So you have to
Different people
manage
just
within your
view it
risk.
differently.
No different than in Warhammer, where you can't rely on rolling sixes. You have to roll around. You have to play around the inherent randomness of your plays.
Yeah.
But Warhammer is like the ultimate knife edge of that for me. It's like you could be the best strategist, but if you roll shit, you're still fucked.
Your strategy meant nothing.
At least with Magic, like you have mulligans and like different ways to, if I build in the deck, there's going to be ways I can draw cards, and so it's like it'll increase the chance.
You can mitigate a lot of that.
But yeah, it's like I really like the concept of the way that it plays with the three kind of areas that you fight across.
Yeah.
Like in my mind, I really like to like visualize what's going on. Like, I still do the Yu-Gi-Oh thing with when I'm playing Magic, where I imagine the dinosaur that I've just summoned, like going across and eating your wizard, or my cleric being minced apart by a demon in a car. You know what I mean? It's there's a visual element in my mind that's happening, and I really like the maybe close to the video game side of it, where you can imagine like three different like mountain peaks that your guys are fighting over with these different cards that you're playing, and
It's a dynamic. It adds a dynamic nature to the card game.
Yeah, and you talk about it's like the lanes in
League of Legends.
League of Legends that you're fighting over, and I haven't played a lot of League of Legends, but I can. It helps. It really helps visualize that physical side of it, which I like a lot.
Even if you only see very little snippets of League of Legends, you can see the translation of the game to the.
And they're very much trying to inherit the ideas of what these the characters in League of Legends do, and they try to translate it over to the card game. So the people that do play the video game also get a nice little nod of, hey, this seems familiar.
Yeah, and then people who aren't, they might not care so much.
It won't
about
matter,
that.
right? Because as long as the game does what the game does.
And like we've talked about it before, it's like the digital art they've used on the card so far has been recycled assets from the video game, right? And because I don't have really a background in the game at all, I haven't been super impressed by any of that art that's coming through. But early today, we're looking at some of the crossover art with some of the merchandise that's coming along with it. So like the sleeves and the boulders and the playmat stuff. And they've used, I guess, more traditional artists like guys from Magic the Gathering and like other just like traditional art mediums. And it's drawing me in much more. I want to see on my cards like the art and the colors and the characterization rather than.
I want to see the expression of an artist.
Yes, correct.
Rather than just this is a product designed to sell.
Yeah, and I've never, outside of World of Warcraft, I've never been a big fan of that style of like true. Like, I don't know what.
It's very much the modern day digital art where
Yes.
this was created on Photoshop of some kind, where it's designed to be everything looks correct. Everything looks correct, looks clean, looks good, but lacks some level of character because it's supposed to be replicated across. The idea of that style of art is that it's consistent because you can have several different artists working in parallel, creating a familiar looking product so that everything in your final, especially in a video game, you need everything to look consistent.
Yeah.
But it doesn't translate over to an artist's own individual level of skill.
Something with a video game where like you might have a couple of thousand players looking at that same thing. You want that consistency. Whereas with a card game or like sleeves, even things that are like a bit more, I don't know, rustic.
We had the draft of a classic old Magic set, Homelands.
Oh, yeah.
And I say classic
really
loosely,
fun, yeah.
because by classic, I mean it's notoriously classic for being quite a terrible set.
Right.
But
It's like
going
the second
back,
worst rated set of all time.
yeah, it's like right after Fallen Empires kind of deal. And it was a dive into old school Magic. 1995 Magic the Gathering booster box. Cracked open the packs, drafted it. Whoa, what a wild ride it was. And then you notice that each individual character and flavor of an artist would appear on the cards. And that's part of what makes it memorable.
Yeah.
Wasn't the card itself. You could forget what a card does. You could entirely.
You should forget what the card does.
But I for sure remember the art. And there was a cool looking art on that set.
Really, really cool.
Yeah.
And then it was a wild ride because old Magic was not designed to be balanced per se.
Yeah,
there was a lot of like rough around the edges parts, but had a lot of character and a lot of flavor. You were able to make some weird stuff.
So what we played was the secondary set from a primary set, and the way that drafting was supposed to be worked is you take one pack of the primary set and add 2 sets of the secondary set.
Whoa!
So when you would draft a primary set, you would take 3. You'd go through 3 of those, and then in the next 1 or 2 sets, it used to be everyone would have 3 sets. So 1 primary, then 2 small ones that will come after. The idea is when you do the small ones, you take, like I said, 2 new ones, 1 old one, and then 1 old one would give you the consistency of maybe a slightly either more consistent like removal or abilities that would allow you to play the game, and then the second one would bring the flair. So what we had was a lot of flair.
All the
We
flair.
played no consistency.
Yeah, exactly right. So that's why the removal was like almost non-existent.
Yeah.
You know, Kang and I,
we saw a lot of the same cards.
Yeah, a lot
so
of the
people
same-
were drafting people were forcing the most jank ideas.
Yeah.
We had Tom who drafted something like 8 albatrosses. Giant albatrosses, which are just 2 mana 1/1 flyers with extra keywords, and then also 17 memory lapses.
Yeah, memory lapse is a really bad counterspell where you pay 1 and 1 blue, and it
Puts it
counters
back
the
on top of the
spell,
library.
but it puts their spell back on top of the library. In one of my games, he did it to me 7 times in a row.
Yeah.
And I was like, I would just play the same, and because
It was like having dementia. You'd just be remembering.
He had a memory
I'm
lapse.
same cards again.
And it's a terrible counterspell that you never see anymore. But it's actually, when you can play 7 in a row, it's actually incredible because it keeps putting on top of the library. I've got
Nothing's
nothing
happening.
new to add. If I don't have any land to put down, I can't even put land down. So I'm not achieving anything in the same
In the
time.
same
around
while,
circles.
an albatross is pecking at your face. Danny had one of my favorites where there's this stupid Minotaur, which was irrelevant stats. It was a 4 mana 2/2, but it has a tap ability which causes it to deal 1 damage to any target.
Yeah.
Which in Modern Magic, a 4 mana card for then an eventual tap ability to deal 1 damage. Forget about it.
Terrible.
Don't even worry about it.
Absolute trash.
But if you can have 8 of them in your deck,
Yeah.
suddenly you're cooking.
You just have to be above the curve, and somehow I still lost to Kang. I had literally 8 of them. Kang had 2 and managed to get me.
Yeah.
With the fucking things. But it's like my favorite part about that card is that it was I played so red-blue Minotaurs. The blue had like ice minotaurs, some nonsense. The red ones, the guy had clearly not known what a minotaur was, so it was the image was a mixture of like a gazelle and like a goat.
He just drew a goat.
Yeah,
He took an interpretation. It was Minotaur,
and they
Goats.
had human hands. Like it was all over the place.
It's like with like cards like Mystic Remorse. It's like I don't know what this thing is. I draw
it was a truly a wild time because I remember sitting next to you and seeing you had 3 of those on the table, and you were just lightning bolting Graham's face.
Yeah.
Poor Graham couldn't do anything except get lightning bolted by ghosts.
I felt bad because the first 2 for 2 people I played, I just annihilated them by just goading them to death. Like it was ridiculous. And then I come to play Kang, and Kang, he turned my own plan against me.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I had no fun.
Now you took a step in
I
their
realized
shoes.
the problem that I caused.
Yeah.
You were the
Well, because
problem.
I built a more balanced overall deck, but I had a similar strategy to Danny where I eventually still picked into those ghosts trying to do 1 damage. And because there were only 2/2s, I realized the gun on the table was whoever got 2 ghosts out on the table first.
Yeah.
Because then you could just kill a goat.
You just kill the goat as it
because
comes out.
exactly.
Right.
You can make sure the other person has no goats.
Yeah.
They can't have a goat if they have no goat.
I also like that you went the condor route as well. So the same thing you did.
Yeah.
I was at the time I was being goated. I was getting fucking condor
Pecked away by birds. It was a wild ride.
The classic combo of a condor.
Although it was kind of a fun ride having a more limited set because you would see more of the same cards and really spark the idea of I could force this strategy, right? I could do this weird jank thing.
It's funny, like at the end of the way you draft is you open a pack, and like because this is a really old set, you actually have to open 2 packs because there's way less cards per pack.
cards, yeah.
So every one, it was actually 2 packs. So you would open the packs and you take 1 card of choice and you pass the rest of the pack on, and it goes around in circles.
And not every pack would have a rare.
Yeah.
That was the
In fact,
idea.
I don't even know. If,
Well,
I don't know what was a rare.
for them, the legend was like a pool.
Oh,
that
yes,
was like
yeah,
your
of course, yeah.
whoa pool.
Also, a couple of them were terrible. Like the hardest thing to get was the worst card to play. And at the end of it, the build, like when you've got all your cards and you have to build a deck, I was worried that because I'd kind of gone to the meme and collected too many of the goats to play the thing. I thought that I'd had too many, and then after the first game with Tom, and I realized how effective the goat was, I literally just took out lands and added in more goats.
Yeah, double down on the strategy, right?
What about more?
Yeah, the initial fear was completely off balance, but it was really cool. It was actually really fun. Like John had got this sealed box of this game, which came out in 1995 set. So it's like we're talking about the fact that
this card is old. These cards are older than me.
Yeah, we're now in 2025, so that's a 30-year-old box of cards. Like, and no matter what it is that's 30 years old, like there's not a lot that survives to that level. Like,
what other hobby can you go back and dive 30 years?
Yeah, not
lot.
many. Yeah,
No.
Yeah, like because by British terms of the British Roadshow, Antique Roadshow, anything that's 30 years or older is an antique.
Yeah.
So
We're
I
holding
am
on
an
to
antique.
antique cards.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, so you're holding on
must be a
to you're just like any.
You're an
classified-
antique?
I'm an antique. So classified with me and Roman coins and Grecian
You go onto the Antiques Roadshow.
Yeah.
They bring you up. So what have you brought today? And you sit on the table.
You just sit on the table in front of the guys. Yeah.
It's not valuable, but it is
Worth
here.
nothing.
Security.
You're just self-esteem.
But yeah, card games, we've been playing a lot of Riftbound, and we're quite excited with Riftbound here. There's this whole cycle of things we're planning to get involved in. I believe you're also planning to do some content creation too.
Yeah, so I've just recently actually got it set up where, like, for a YouTube channel, getting like I have like a little stand to hold my phone. I just realized on my phone I've had my settings bad, so I went in. And you can change like the quality of what video, like how it takes your videos, because you can make it worse so that you have more memory left over.
Yeah.
I just had it on bad by default.
Just by default,
and
yeah.
never knew. And that for all my phones throughout the past, it's just transferred that information.
Yes, across, yeah.
And I never knew that.
Yeah.
So it turns out I made
Whoa,
it
this is
good.
HD.
And I was like, wow, my phone is HD. I was like, I can use this. And then I did the same thing with the voice recorder. I was like, this is viable. I don't have to buy a new phone.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
awesome.
There's definitely a plan here on the boards as well. You know, us having already an established YouTube channel, I'm definitely planning to do some unboxing videos as well as some gameplays would be awesome. Would be nice to dive in and see how far we can take that content creation. I have a lot to say about the game too. It would be really cool to have maybe not even a podcast episode, but actually a recorded video episode where we sit down, we really chat about Riftbound and see how the game is going and how any expectations. Because now we can actually unbox the talk about the game. The game has been fully spoiled, and the game is actually actively being played in China right now. So we're already getting data on the metagame, the pull rates, what people are enjoying. We've seen some of the promos coming out. There's a lot to discuss.
Some of like the rules interactions, that their rules, like full comprehensive rules.
There's definitely
out.
going to be a judge program.
Yes.
They've already announced they're going to have a system involved so people can become judges and adjudicate tournaments. Because
Which is a good idea.
Very early on, they said that they're going full blast with this game. They're going to have a structured, organized play system where you play games locally, for example, Northern Boards, and then from Northern Boards, you can then go to a qualifier. So then the store can run itself a store tournament event where the store tournament event then hands out a qualified ticket to the winner. The winner is then able to go to a regional qualifier, and after the regional qualifier, they can go to a national qualifier, and then eventually Worlds. Very clean, straightforward 1, 2, 3, 4 tournament style of you can go out there and compete for Riftbound and try and go for the glory, which I love.
It's good.
The judge thing is like a classic Magic. I know Fab's done it, like
Absolutely.
Flesh and Blood's done it. It has the Bandai games.
The Bandai games do have judge systems. The problem is just there's not a lot of people that go out of their way to become judges for Bandai games because Bandai have a bad track history of keeping games alive.
True.
So why would you invest your time and effort to be syndicated as a judge, but not really get anything out of it when the game passes away?
I wonder how many Dragon Ball Z TCG judges there are.
Correct. They also don't supply great judge pricing.
Got it.
The judge pricing isn't usually worth a lot. And very much so, judges, if they're going to spend their time to become a valuable community member for your game, you need to reward them appropriately.
Yeah.
Magic does this great. Judges get rewarded quite desirable cards in their own individual art and judge frame, which they can then sell for compensation, right?
Yeah.
There's some crazy ones. There's for example, we've seen Ristic Study as a judge card.
Yeah.
That Ristic Study judge card is $400 minimum, right? Plenty of examples such as that. Flesh and Blood as well. Flesh and Blood judges get compensated, very nice promo judge cards, which they can then sell to compensate themselves. Fantastic. So you need that. Hopefully Riftbound does something similar, and I would love to see
Yeah.
it. Have you thought about becoming a judge at all?
I mean, something I could definitely consider.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how everything goes and how they do implement everything. If I'm enjoying it and I enjoy the tournament scene, then I'd definitely be interested.
Testament to the strength of the game already. Before the game's even come out, I've had people voice their interest in becoming a judge for Northern Boards.
Have you considered your bribery level? Like, at what is the minimum I have to pay you for you to just swing the decisions my way?
If I slide a 50 on the table and I tell you, Judge Kai, I swear this is how the interaction works.
It depends on how much the other guy gives me.
Damn.
He's an arms race.
He knows what he's doing.
It's a barter. Like, you got to figure out who's paying.
I've had people in the community already voice their interest in becoming judges for Northern Boards, and they're already doing the research and sitting down and learning all the rules and intricacies of the game. So much so that people that are playing the proxy tournaments and playing with, playtest cards right now are in the chat rooms asking these people, how do these interactions work?
Yeah.
I've never. It's really, really rare for me to see. In all my years of knowing card games and being around card games for a very long time, I've never really seen how like a card game like this was before it's even come out.
Yeah,
3 months before the game's even come out, there's been such a strong community push of this brand new card game.
Even before this whole set was spoiled, there was already a proxy tournament that had been done.
People were running tournaments, people were running content creation. Before the set got fully, we were running tutorials.
Yeah.
We were running learn to play days of Riftbound and all the boards before the game even came out. Before we even knew all the cards were out.
Early tonight, Christian had come through and we were talking about how he knew someone who had like a print run from they just come back from the US. They've got some of the original run, and there was a discussion that you had with him about whether it was like the current run or the previous run, and it's like there's so much pre-game happening before the first edition has dropped that there's multiple versions of the pre-game that you have to consider, and it's like that's crazy. Like we've seen like One Piece and Lorcana and all these things, and like I'm sure there was pockets of people doing these things out there somewhere, but never have we seen anything to this level
grand.
for sure.
Like there's going to be playtesters for every game, right? Like you have to have a decently playing game and figure out all the quirks of it. But something like this, where they could almost like give it to the people, get them to figure out all the problems, and then come together and then hear the voices of that people. Like it's such a big community thing.
Part of that is there's more card gamers now than there ever has been, and more card gamers wanting to be early adopters to a thing. But also the strength of the IP, like League of Legends as a video game is clearly significant to people because people hear about a card game and want to give it a go.
Yeah.
So there's not a ton we can talk about for the game until it really hits shelves and people have a chance to give it a go. There's a thing where if you're interested in giving Riftbound a go, you can definitely contact myself at all the boards. I'm happy to teach you how to play. We have learn to play decks here. There's definitely going to be more and more effort. Well, I think now that very recently we received our allocation for Riftbound, so we do know roughly how much stock we are due to receive. So we can start planning out our events now for Riftbound.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
really support those community events. Because I know partially, we want to be here early as possible to really show people that we are supporting the community and running these events, and also make sure that we want to make sure that we're getting our foot in the door. Because there's definitely a little bit of competition between ourselves and all the other LGSs. I know GG Cannington is already running events every Monday, and they do get around 6 people coming down.
Yeah.
So
Which is
there's a little regular crew,
good start
and
to
it's
a group.
really good to see. Like you want to have those root players, those seed players that are going to grow a community from them consistently playing. And that's really, really important for Northern Boards to find and kind of identify and lock down those players and be like, hey, play Riftbound and really kind of support it here and grow a community at Northern Boards.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
When you have a group or a community that is consistent, it just helps to grow that community bigger because other people can see that.
My
and be like,
only concern,
I want to do that.
There are 2 main concerns I have with the game, which are like they're in the grand scheme of things, they're minor concerns. Number one is the game has launched 3 months in advance in China. So by the time the product comes out in Australia, the entire metagame is already hard established. People exactly know what the desirable cards are going to be, and the pricing structure is going to be pretty fixed. There's no early on exploration of a card game, which is a bit of a shame because we've seen that in One Piece where by the time the English print run comes around, everyone already knows exactly what's going to be worthwhile. which is less exciting.
Sure.
And then the second thing that I'm my concerned with, early adopters in China have reported that the pull rates in the boxes aren't great. The highest rarity of cards, which will be the equivalent of mythics in Magic the Gathering, the pulls the chase pulls you're trying to get, you don't actually get so many of them out of a box. You really only get about 6 to 8 of them out of a box. When you kind of do need to build a deck of playsets out of them. So it's looking like if depending on how sets go and depending on how the cards go, it could get pretty pricey for the average punter.
I wonder if that's a forced scarcity to increase the value of the product.
Definitely, there's definitely a thing in any card game. In the first set that comes out is more desirable. There's an inherent level of if this card game goes big, everyone wants to be that Magic the Gathering alpha box.
Yeah,
you're hoping for that.
Yeah, that's true.
Or the
right?
Pokemon original first print.
It's almost like being with Magic being 30 years, and we're talking about that, or 32 years now. You like if you're Riftbound and you're the producers of that business, you're like, well, what about 30 years from now? Like if we, because it's like, maybe back then Magic the Gathering, like Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro, they weren't planning for it to be the way that it is. But like someone who like the producer of Riftbound could be like, I'm going to put 15 pallets of Riftbound Season 1 in a sea container somewhere. In the scheme of things for them, a multi-million-dollar company isn't going to cost that much money. And in 30 years off, it's like putting money into buying a home to sell as an asset later, or putting them in shares.
It's like stocks.
Yeah, stocks. Yeah, it's exactly like that. And in 30 years, the company makes an incredible payoff as they flood the market or like drip feed their stuff out into the market via eBay or whatever. And like, it's just not a conspiracy theory. That's just what the businesses do. Like, you know, it's like, I know that in the shoe stocks, they do the same thing. They'll put things away and it's like, you just slowly squirrel items away knowing that, because then it's not it's because then at 30 like years, that's when the big amount of money comes in. But at 31 years, you've got the next set that you can slowly dribble out. You know what I mean? And like for you basically, like these big multinational companies are thinking 20, 30 years down the track. They're like, well, every year from 30 years from now, we're going to be making a huge bankroll, and that's what's going to pay off to like all the shareholders at that time. You know,
it's also impossible to avoid the people idea of people now want to invest into card games. The idea of I'm going to hold on to this and this could be worth more down the line is very enticing to a lot of people. I have people that come down now and they'll buy One Piece sealed booster boxes, and they tell me, hey, I'm planning to keep this hidden array for 5 years and see what happens.
And then we try to do the phishing scheme where we're like, oh, what's your first and middle name and mother of your pet?
And it's like we don't have box 1, box 2, box 3, like original. We don't have early set One Piece. We're talking set 9, set 10, and people are still trying to hold on to these boxes and see where things go. It's really impressive. I think it's going to be impossible to avoid people doing that for Riftbound. People will try and hold on to that set 1 box and see what happens. Because in the recent times, the big blowout one was Flesh and Blood.
Flesh and Blood, yeah.
Flesh and Blood, original set, Welcome to Wrath. No one ever expected it to be so big, and then out of nowhere now, Welcome to Wrath boxes and any of the old cold foils are worth a lot of money.
Really?
People see that and they think to themselves, hey, it could be my chance at a lottery.
You know what we should do? We should go take the version 1 boxes of all these games and have like a little chart and see which ones have done the best over a period
like
of
a
time.
little racing
like a
chart.
trend.
Place your bets. Which one? Oh, it's gone down by 10%.
At that point, we're right back in the stock market. Right there.
Damn.
So in loose, we can talk about the gameplay of the game, but it's not going to be relevant to a lot of listeners. In loose terms, do you have a favorite gameplay style, or do you have a character you enjoy playing in Riftbound right now? At
the moment, so the character's name is Timo, and very loosely, it's just gambling. It's just luck. And it's like, I play card games, right? Gambling's ingrained into the whole system of it.
I'm also a big fan of subbing out your own skill for luck, so that if you win, it's obviously you that did
skill.
it. And if you lose,
that was the deck. I have no fault in this matter.
Well, it's cool that you chose Timo, because the way Timo works in Riftbound is very unique to how Riftbound plays. It's a very independent of other card games and how it independently works. Because the Timo deck plays into the idea of hiding cards face down. Not many card games, maybe just Yu-Gi-Oh is the only real notable card game that has inherently face down cards as part of its mechanic.
Hidden information.
Magic does, obviously, but it's
but it's not a fundamental.
It's not like my creature in defense position face down like Yu-Gi-Oh is. It's like somewhere
Yeah,
else.
and Timo plays into the idea of hiding face down cards, which is really interesting for how Riftbound plays. And you mentioned that slot machine idea because a lot of the way Timo deck works is that as you flip cards face up, you'll randomly trigger things at the top of your library. And you can have all sorts of crazy, wacky things
so just
happen.
random things happen.
Which is a lot of it. It's exciting, it's exhilarating, and it's unique to Riftbound.
I've also found it whilst playing with other people that like they're trying to like figure out what on earth I'm doing, and I've just put some stupid thing.
The
there.
mind game is fun.
It's the mind
when you're
game.
putting it down, are you getting to choose what's going down, or is it
Yeah,
coming
so
off
I
the
get
top of
to
your deck?
choose what goes down,
Got
but
it.
a lot of the effects are either super dependent on what the opponent does, or like Kang was saying, like it's just like whatever the top six.
An
cards are.
example is one of the Timo characters you can play goes face down somewhere, and it says when he goes face up, you reveal the top 5 cards of your library, and then depending on what the top 5 cards of your library are, things can happen. Whether it's do damage or the big jackpot you flip a character called Nocturne, which says that if he's revealed for anything other than in your hand, effectively, he goes right into play.
Oh, nice.
So he
Cheated.
just jump scares in. He just
I do like the idea of like poker facing, like so you could put something down into play and your opponent's like shitting it because they're like, oh, he's got.
That happens
he
all
had
the time.
something there, and like your guy's just like got some just nonsense upside
Like
down.
all of my like big play pieces are in my hand, and I'm just like I just got to pretend.
Yeah.
It could be on top.
Yeah. And it happens a lot when I play against Kai. One of the ways to deal with the hidden cards is just to kill the creatures on top of the hidden cards, which requires you to use removal. So I'll use removal in fear of what's hiding face down, and then he reveals his face down card, and it was just, I don't know, make a token.
He's bait and switch.
Yeah, I was like,
It's just
damn
like,
it.
it didn't matter that you killed that creature.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like I got you, and that's like those gotcha moments.
And
Makes it
all
very
the all
fun.
How did
this,
that creature feel about being used as bait?
He had no opinion.
they're my cards. I get to choose.
He has no lawyer that he can defend himself with.
Even in set 1, we've seen most of the card games, classic card game archetypes represented. We have aggro decks, control decks, combo decks, mid-rangey style decks. I've been a big fan of the Jinx deck. Jinx is a character which really much plays into the I'm going to go very aggressively, go fast. But it has a really fun mechanic of I'm trying to empty my hand. Because if I empty my hand of cards, I get more gameplay benefits. It's a very hyper-aggressive style of play, which I've been enjoying a lot. It's different from all the other. Predominantly, I would say Riftbound Set 1 feels very mid-range control-heavy.
There's a lot of it, yeah.
So this is very opposite to that, which is exciting to me.
Yeah.
But-
I would say, like, me and Kang started when the first starting decks, there was only 4
There was only the
options.
starter decks.
There was only these 4 options. Kang chose one, I chose the other, and we kind of stuck with that for a good while. We branched off a little bit, and then we kind of found like the areas where we liked. Kang stuck with Jinx, which was one of the OGs. I kind of went from like one, and I was like, oh, let me try something else, and I preferred it. There's a lot of play styles that you can really figure out.
Have those initial decks like survived the test of time, or have they
Yes.
been pretty heavily errated?
Those first, well,
No, those ones, the ones that we played originally got errated a lot.
Yeah,
'Cause
they've changed a bit.
They were decks that people knew about because the developers of the game brought those decks to conventions to play test the game. And those were playtest cards that then got eventually changed a lot by the time the actual cards were represented.
Got it.
Especially so much so that the 3 starter decks that the games are coming out with are not those playtest
not
decks.
the original ones, yeah.
Correct.
Even the art style, and like if you look at the older cards, there were different colors. The symbols were all different. Like even some like the words they used were different.
Oh, I bet if somebody had like a
it's so
suite of those
weird.
cards, you're like
So a lot
on
of-
some hard collectibles there.
Like
Yeah, the
YouTube
people
had
already
like the
selling
sample
those.
packs, and like it has like a big stamp on it that says sample.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
you would not use these in a tournament play at all or anything, but like it's still cool.
But yeah, very exciting stuff in terms of Riftbound. I know we've mentioned Riftbound a few times on the podcast, but really it's kind of in the general atmosphere, the zeitgeist of players. We'll see how things go. Very excited for that one. But obviously, so many more card games coming out. Just in the Northern Board sphere, we have Spider-Man coming out already. Places are opening up pre-orders for the Avatar set coming out in November. Always more things coming out for One Piece. Flesh and Blood's got a new set coming out called Super Slam. Lorcana is just about to come out with its brand new set Fabled, which introduces the standard rotation mechanic for Lorcana finally. And even in Warhammer, we have so many more things to announce. So just stay tuned. I mean, more things always coming out.
Yeah.
Any last words, Kai?
I mean, look, with any game, I always recommend coming down and having a chat with the boys at Northern Boards because they're absolutely lovely to talk to.
Yeah.
They're very helpful with how to get started with hobbying, card games, war games, even if you just are not sure where to begin or what to do.
Those guys sound pretty great. Who are they?
I keep forgetting their names, but I think one was like Daniel, one was I can't remember the other guy, but no, they've been
Speaking about Daniel, we're doing a late night recording, and I can see the fatigue setting in.
I really dropped off on the last 10, 15 minutes there, boys.
Alrighty, thank you very much for tuning in. It's been an hour 30 minutes. Thank you for joining us. Take care, everyone.
Thank you, Kai. Appreciate it, mate.
Always.
Thanks, Ken.
Bye bye.
Thanks, Ken.